if thou beest he. But oh, how fallen, how changed from him who in happy realms of light, clothed with transcendent brightness, didst outshine myriads, though bright. These are the familiar words, at least to some of the classical education, of John Milton, describing at least a mythically iconic figure in the Judeo Christian tradition, Lucifer, bearer of light, after he had been cast down from heaven into the depths of an ignominious hell, where he brushed off the defeat and resolved that he would rather rule in hell than serve in heaven, in a devious plan to pervert God's good and make it evil, providing the prologue for Milton's fictional depiction, at least, regarding the fall of man and the genesis of original sin, offering them an apple. Or do you prefer Macintosh? Hello, my name is Major Mike Webb, and at least indirectly, as a retired member of the Intelligence Committee, recently both the President and the United States Supreme Court have tasked me to report on a fascinating phenomenon which may be of great interest with as many as 3 in 10 Americans by December, identifying themselves as nuns, not affiliated with any faith denomination, up 6 points since the pre-pandemic estimate, that had already found their numbers exceeding those affiliated with the Roman Catholic Church, the largest faith denomination prior to recent years, just like the President had tasked the intelligence community to look into the origins of a novel coronavirus, a question still without answers after 2 years of pandemic, while the Defense Department was delving into refining and clarifying knowledge on potential visitors from space. For the next few moments, I will be addressing the topic of what the government does not want you to know about the existence of God in an unclassified format, which we might, just for legend season, describe as Jesus Christ, extraterrestrial. And as promised, we will now finally be proceeding, if you call me Caesar at the beginning to the topic of Paradise Lost, because one of the ways in which a methodical inquiry might begin in a college course, a good college course, to determine existence of a phenomenon like God is to begin like the artistic method of the sculptor Rodin, with whom we are familiar with his finger, this bump, on the head, carving away at what is not and what, in order to give you what he wants you to have. Just carve it away. Anything that's not in a man with his fist on his head, then we just carve that away, and then we'll have that image. That was Rodin's idea of art. That's what he said. And what better example in the dualistic realities of Hegelian dialectics, very, very popular in Virginians congressional history. Star Wars clashes between the evil empire, rebels aided by Jedi Knights in the Force. Luke, I am your father. Or even the Federation of Planets versus the terrible Romulans and Klingons. Live long and prosper. Then to use a simplistic form of multiple choice, like on the SATs, that apparently are racist, examining the antithetical villain or protagonist, words with which we should be familiar in grammar school, in literature to the protagonist or hero of the Christian narrative, if only to attempt to discern the attraction of a loser ball. Come on, think about it. In defiance of what has consistently been described as omnipotence. How are we going to take on omnipotence? I mean, all-powerful, which logically cannot be overcome by a majority. But we got 5 guys. It doesn't work. He's omnipotent. Hello, try as one might. It may be truly fascinating, but it is simply not logical. I don't know, it sounds, intelligent to say that you're following the science. I don't know. You need that validation. May need a psychiatrist. Those who recall the turbulent 1960s may recall the controversy that arose from the actor Anton LaVey's Church of Satan. You probably never heard of him. You probably don't even recall the Church of Satan, but there was and apparently, like Protestant Satanists take up the call of their namesake, multiplying by division. And the temple set was founded by LaVey's former right-hand man, Michael Aquino, who left the Church of Satan after LaVey had some controversies, marrying someone, and we decided to make a high priest put on payroll, kind of like, AOC and a boy had started to sell priesthood offices. That's always a big thing, you start selling priesthoods. Get your priesthood online. It's just $59.95. And Anton rejected this profiteering, and he was a purist. He rejected this profiteering in the name of satanic religion and developed a whole new philosophy based upon not a belief in any sort of God or deity. We reject God, deity, organized religion, and we're going to start an organization to do that and develop a whole new philosophy, because philosophy appeals to people that want to be intellectual, based upon a new belief in not any sort of God or deity, but yet who, as Setians, yes, we call ourselves something that sounds like it's religious, but it's not religious. And they also believe, but they're not religious, not, anything like that. In a supra-personal entity known as Set, the Egyptian god of violence and disorder. Oh, that doesn't sound insurrectionary. Who eventually became known as the god of darkness. Oh, now that's very, very, uplifting. And the enemy of all other Egyptian gods. Okay, so we're angry, but we're not sinning. This is what it is. It's that kind of concept. I don't know. We're just against their gods, but we're not hating. In other words, Set is the original Satanist, the god against all false imagined gods. Okay, are you set? No, I'm a Setian, and I'm against all false gods. Okay, so we're the real ones. Ask these guys. And Levian Satanists believe that each member is their own personal god. My choice. I am a god. Go down there to check out the other gods, and they seek to ascend to godhood. Okay, they are their personal god, but they're still, in training. Gods in training. Making all the mistakes as they go along. So if you believe it is all about you and your badass God self, not some oppressive God man in heaven, then you just might be a Setian. Okay. Where do I sign? And yet another following of Satanism, which appears to be a consistent pattern of the satanic reds. I don't know, maybe they saw the costumes and said, hey, red, that looks really cool. Satanic Reds who also don't believe in Satan in the traditional sense, but rather view him as a dark force, dark Reds, that has existed since the beginning of time. They want to be in line with the dark forces of time. Okay, Tani Jansang, one of the Satanic Reds' most prominent figures, believes that the origin of the word Satan comes from two pre-conscript words. Sat, the word for the boundless darkness, and tan, which describes how this force stretches out and permeates. I heard a permeating sermon on Sunday in Baptist church into all other things. Okay, in other words, sat means being, because you want to be being, and tan means becoming. So you are being and becoming at the same time in the Satanic Reds. Okay, whether or not this is the true Sanskrit root of the word Satan is unknown to even the author of this wonderful piece looking at the different types of Satanism. But this is the belief of the founders and those who follow it. Truth really doesn't matter. It's all about them. And this is in no way like the Lucifer who set off a revolt in heaven that got him cast into hell. And this has absolutely nothing to do with any type of opposition to religion or anti-religion. So the right-wing Christians must have this totally wrong. We should believe. Okay. No. We're not trying to attack you. We're not trying to attack you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyone who read, the Iliad knows, what did Odysseus tell Polyphemus, the Cyclops, when he had blinded him? And the blinded Cyclops asked who was attacking him. He said Nemo, or nobody. Nobody is attacking you. No, it's not me. It's all in your mind. Next, there is the polytheistic Satanism, which is exactly what, hey, if you're dumb enough to believe it, why not try it? There is the polytheistic Satanism, which is exactly what it sounds like. The belief in many gods as opposed to just one God. I believe in many gods. All gods. No, just many gods. Polytheism. Not pantheism. I discriminate. The most famous polytheistic Satanist organization is the Church of Azazel, which is in New York City, based upon an openness to all Satanists. All Satanists. We're polysatanic. Occultists and followers of the left-hand path. They revere several distinct deities. The Church of Azazel focuses on what they call the rising gods of the modern West. Satan, Azazel, Lilith, Azazel, Prometheus, Ishtar, Pan, and Lucifer of Sophia, as opposed to Lucifer of Hoboken. Sophia was a Gnostic goddess who had many parallels with the story of Lucifer, along with the story of Adam and Eve. All of these gods have been demonized, they say, by Abrahamic religion. That would be Judeo Christian. Yet they represent values and principles that the Church of Azazel strongly identifies with, and social trends that are disliked by the religious right. Okay, starting already to get some political kind of sounding things here. For example, Prometheus represents knowledge and understanding, and Ishtar represents nature and sexuality. Most importantly, Satan is the one who encourages free thinking, like the Congressional Free Thought Caucus that Don Byer joined in 2020. Okay. By challenging and questioning dogma. Okay. Presumptively challenging them with reasons, and not just, lobbing grenades and saying I object and tossing ad hominem, actual, real arguments. The Church of Azazel doesn't worship any gods in a traditional sense, however. Rather, they pay reverence and respect for their gods and often feel drawn to one or more of them. I don't know to what extent they feel drawn to one or more of these gods, or if they see them or have lunch with them, go out on date. I don't know. They're just drawn to these deific beings. I don't know if they have, incarnate forms or whatever, but they're drawn to them. They all are also rather agnostic, knowing that the realm of the gods will never be completely knowable to mankind. I think I'm having lunch with Zeus, but I can't tell you for sure. And therefore, follow what is called a here and now philosophy. Zeus was here a minute ago, and I'm sure he'll be back. The Church of Azazel does believe that the gods might manifest themselves within human affairs, particularly in social, economic, and religious trends, which at least in a political sense sounds very woke, to use the popular term. If you're woke, the Church of Azazel may be for you, but not exactly what one might expect to hear at an Ivy League college lecture, I pray. Assessment, opiate for the masses, definitely. Are you vaccinated? And finally, Patrick W. Dunn, who had studied business and psychology at the elite Chaminade University of Honolulu, although it is not even clear that he ever graduated, reported that there is surprisingly a small religion that mixes the writings of H.P. Lovecraft with Satanism, black magic, and the left-hand path. I can do a great culture. I love this culture. Fools, kids, and people not exactly intellectually challenged all the time. This is known as the cult of Cthulhu. Ventures Satanist, if that is his real name. The cult's founder acknowledges that many people don't accept Lovecraft's writings as reality. To which he responds, there is no reality. What the human mind calls reality does not really exist. Okay, so why are you responding even to these things if it doesn't? I have no idea. Satanist claims that everyone is locked inside a paradigm. You say paradigm, you always sound intelligent. Called generally accepted reality. Okay. And he has the power to shape his own reality according to his own will. So, you fall yourself, falling from a mountain, just think, this is not real. It's not real, and I have the power to change this. And you have the rest of your life to figure it out. And this anti-reality thinking may be attractive to those who see visions while tripping on LSD, or who are fans of Keanu Reeves' character in The Matrix, but take the green pill, take the red pill. To an experienced strategic counterintelligence analyst, it can certainly be said that on Earth, the idea of a God in heaven has inspired a lot of fanatics. who believe that they are intellectually gifted or otherwise somehow, I don't know, just angry at this God entity, a self-delusion that of itself presents a security concern. It is troubling even if law enforcement perceives a person experiencing hallucinations that trigger irrational reactions. You know, that guy on Angel Dust, trying to fly out the building, or whatever. And wrapping this segment up, it is important to note that according to YouGov in October 2020, just before a majority of Americans claimed that they voted for the science, 73% of Democrats and 66% of Republicans who were confident that they understood the science, that even the scientists are still attempting to understand. And now to have them confused trying to figure out the science guide. Just say you got it and go on. While they did their duty, voting in person in record numbers during a global public health crisis that has to date claimed over 6 million lives to date, reported that a poll of more than 17,000 U.S. adults, that's a lot, finds that half, 50%, believe that demons, definitely or probably exist. And a similar number, 46%, believe that ghosts do. Ghosts. Okay. Atoms, molecules, ghosts. Protestants, 66%, and Muslims, 62%. I'm looking for chemistry. Have some water, HCl. Protestants and Muslims, 62%, are more likely than others to say they believe in demons exist. A majority of Mormons, 60%. Roman Catholics, 58%, also believe in the existence of demonic entities. Atheists, 10%. Jewish people, 20%. Agnostics, 23%, are the least likely to believe in demons. So, or at least admit that they do. So when it comes to demons and demonic figures, this is definitely an Islamic and Christian phenomenon by popular vote, which would make sense because Satan, despite the claims of Satanists and their marketing, mechanisms that, we're not really Satan, tends to be a religious iconic figure with Satan as the antagonist to an omnipotent protagonist, defying any rationality as to why any person might find a desire to align with the loser in the fight, even with even with savvy marketing image makeover. But I'm fighting for justice. Okay. And for those inspired, justice for Satan, and for those inspired by the paranormal, I don't know, the guy sold Jack the beans for the beanstalk, anything can happen. And for those inspired by paranormal, as many are with regard to extraterrestrials at least, when it comes to ghosts, Mormons, 57%, Roman Catholics, 57%, those who define their religion as something else. I don't go to a real church, I just call myself a Christian. And Muslims, 32%, are the most likely to say that they believe that ghosts definitely or probably exist. I do believe in spooks. I do believe in spooks. Somebody call Ghostbusters. However, atheists, 18%, Jewish people, 31%, and agnostics, 35%, are generally less likely to believe that ghosts exist. So if you're on the fence on God, more likely than not, you're, moving towards that, better watch out for the ghosts, kind of thing, not poltergeist. So again, this appears to present evidence that only those opposing religions of Christianity and the Islamic community are fixated on this aspect of the paranormal. Certainly enough to go out to make profits for movie makers. Ghost horror films are very, very big. Also slasher films. Who doesn't like a slasher film? And in this, I'd say he's possessed by the devil. Oh my God. And in this identity politics, by 54% to 46%, women are more likely than men to believe in demons. Okay, so go out, to the movies, tell the chicks you're going to see a demonically possessed, scary film. And maybe have some ghost in it. That gap widens, she'll grab onto you and be scared. That gap widens a bit further on the topic of ghosts, with 52% of women expressing a belief in ghosts compared with 40% of men, or at least 40% of men to try to tell you they don't believe in ghosts. Then you tap on their shoulder and say, boo, and then they, go pee in their pants. And this predominance of feminine beliefs in ghosts and demons presents consistently, even amongst atheists and agnostic women who tend to be more inclined to believe, even amongst their religious demographic that tends to reject these notions. So if there is any message here to traditional gender role adherence, if you are in online dating and wondering why no women are calling, it may be that they see that woman inside you trying to get out. Maybe claiming to be a feminist is not going to bring in the chicks, I'm just saying. And ghosts and demons, as they say, ain't no joke. So you got to man up, fellas. Got to man up. Got some women that are scared of ghosts and demons. But let's pause here and continue with our next video regarding the extraterrestrial Jesus, God Unclassified, with the post-pandemic topic of pausing what was our mission at our Genesis, or in the beginning, what the government knows about God and refuses to tell you, more likely than not, from a security perspective, because who knows what might happen given our experience with Satanists. What might happen if you knew folks who missed the national security concern on UFOs, or Amanda Chase looking up at clouds and seeing formations that look like angels and not like crap like everything else. Who woke up surprised? This briefing is unclassified, as you will. My name is Major Mike Webb, and by God, I am running for U.S. Congress. This year, resolve to do the right thing, and we shall make America great again. Honest. Carry on. This advertisement was authorized by Mike Webb.
Thunk, I could have had a vaccine.